All right, good day everybody. You're welcome once again to our studio. We shall be looking at extruding along the paths, extruding with taper and lofting. Specifically, we'll be looking at extruding to create 3D objects. Okay, so we'll look further at extrude command, how it can be used to create a 3D solid from a closed 2D shape. Two other ways to extrude are to taper the extrusion and the extrude a shape along a path. You can also combine the two options and extrude along a path while tapering the shape. So on this video we are going to be looking at extruding along a path. The path can be a polyline. So let's come here. This is a polyline of horizontal length, this 120, vertical 120, blah 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 blah. So you pick your polyline, you go to polyline, pick from here polyline. Then it will tell you, ask you for the first point, put 0, 0. Let's assume we are starting from origin. Okay, so this is the dimension. So the first one is absolute method. First point is 0, 0. Then second point is 120, 0. That is the line will travel along the positive x-axis by a distance of 120 millimeter, and y-axis is 0. So that's why you have this. Then this vertical one will be 120, 120. That means the x-axis is 120 units from origin, while the y-axis is 120 units from origin. And that's how we got this. This is how it is in the real life. Now, the second one is the polar method. Okay, if you now want to use the polar method, you click on polyline. It will tell you to specify the first point. You put 0, 0. Assume you are starting from the origin. Then specify next point. The method here is to type at, because you are going to specify this point relative to this. It will be at s, at distance d angle, at distance and the angle. So the distance from here to here is 120, and the angle, normally we take measurement of angle starting from the eastern hand, that is the 3 o'clock hand of the clock. Okay, so the 3 o'clock hand of the clock is 0 degrees, and you take the measurement in a counterclockwise direction. Okay, so 3 o'clock handle is 0. That's why you have at 120 angle 0. Then this one that is vertically going up, this perpendicular one, from 3 o'clock handle to 12 o'clock handle is 90 degrees, and the length of the line is 120. So relative to this point will be at 120 angle 90. Okay, so to get this point relative to this point, it will be at 120 angle 0, because it's going in the positive s direction, which is the 3 o'clock, and so on and so forth. Why you have at 120 angle 270 here, because the distance from here to here is 120, and the angle starting from 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that is 90 degrees, to 9 o'clock, that is 118 degrees, down to 6 o'clock, that is 270. So the length of this line is 120 at 120 angle 270. That's that. And if you want to use the relative rectangular method, first point will be 0, 0, and then second point will be at s, y. So s traveled, y did not travel. So at 120, 0. Okay, then to get this point relative to this, it will now be at 0, 120. S did not move, it's only y that moved. So at s, which is 0, y, which is 120. Okay, that's how you do it till you want to get this one now. This one now, this relative to this point will be at 0, minus 120, because the y is traveling against, just like driving against traffic. Okay, if you put the negative to show that it's going down, the negative y direction. So that is that about that. So to first of all, you generate this polyline. You go to your AutoCAD, or this is a 2D platform. So I pick my polyline. I will now say, okay, specify the first point. I can decide to use 0, 0. I want to use the relative method, which is this. Okay, 0, 0. Next point will be at 120, 0. Okay, 0, 0. Enter. Specify next point. I will now type at 120, 0. I will enter. Okay, it will give me this along the positive S direction. The next one will be at 0, 120. Sorry, made a mistake. Go back. Okay. Sorry. Polyline, first point, 0, 0. Enter. Next point is at, I mistakenly type something, at 120, 0. Enter. The next point will be what? At 0, 120. Enter. The next one will be at 120, 0. 120, 0. I will enter. The next one will be at 0, minus 120. I will enter. Okay, this is the polyline. Now, having generated the polyline, you can do zoom, enter, extend, enter. Okay, so just for you to see it very well. Okay, now the next thing we do, we can fillet it. Okay, we fillet it, F, enter. It will now ask you select first object. So the object is polyline. Okay, which is polyline, and the fillet radius, let's say fillet radius of if the diameter is 24 millimeters, so let me use a radius of 12 millimeters. Okay, a radius of 12, that is, you have all the corners. We have fillet radius of 12 in all the corners. Now then, the next thing, we shall extrude a circle along the path of the polyline. This will be one way of drawing pipes in 3D. Okay, so now let's say I will come and pick a circle. Okay, it will ask me to specify the center of the circle. I will use this end of the polyline. Then it's asking me for the radius. Okay, let's assume I'm going to use a radius of say 6 millimeters. I will enter. This is the circle now, so you can see this is a circle, radius 6 millimeters. Then I want to, this is 2D now. This is 2D. Okay, so I want to rotate the circle. You see it as a line so that I can extrude it along the path, which is the length of the polyline. Okay, so I can decide to type rotate 3D, rotate 3D. What is it asking me to do? So I should select the object I want to rotate, which is the circle. I'll select the circle. I will enter. So rotated 3D object, last view, this blah blah blah. So I will choose the X along the X axis, which is this. Okay, then it says specify a point on the X axis. Specify a point on the X axis. So I will select this bottom part. Okay, I will select this bottom part. Then it's asking me for angle of rotation. So I want to rotate the angle at say 90 degrees. 90 degrees. You see now the cycle has rotated. It has turned. It's not like a line. Okay, it has turned. It's not like a line. Having done that, I will extrude now. We'll go. I will now come and okay, type extrude. Extrude. It's not asking me select object to extrude. Select object to extrude. Which object do you want to extrude? Is the cycle. This is the cycle now. I will select it. Then I will click enter. Okay. Then it will ask me. It's asking me now specify height of extrusion. Okay. I want to extrude it along this path, along this polyline path. Okay. I can decide to click on P here for path or type path. Okay. I will type P. Then enter. What is it telling me now? It says select extrusion path. Now the extrusion path is the polyline, which is this. I selected the polyline, which is the extrusion path. Okay. The next thing I will do now, I will come. This is top view now, like the plan. You can use this one for piping isometric. Okay. So I will come here and maybe view it in any of the isometric. Maybe southwest isometric. I viewed it in southwest isometric. This is what I'm seeing now. Okay, so I can decide to type hide. Okay, you can see now. This is now a pipe. If you put water from here, it will flow through here, flow through here. So if you are trying to do your piping isometric, maybe in your building, wherever, or piping in refinery or whatever, you can do it. This is one way of doing it. You just draw the polyline in 2D, take it to any of the isometric view, then you extrude the cycle along the path of the polyline. I hope it is clear. If you like this video, please click like, subscribe and share. Thank you. God bless you.